my fellow gore horror besties. So I'm coming with you tonight for another really sad story, and it's really awful how many stories there are that involve children, but this one's another doozy again. So there are again trigger warnings. Listen at your own risk, whatever you're comfortable with. Today, we're going to be talking about Madeline Soto, the 13-year-old girl that was murdered in Florida back in February of this year. So, this one might be a little bit of a long one because there is quite a bit of stuff to go over, some papers to go over. But we'll start with this video. It's about 4 minutes long that we'll go through, and then we'll go through and talk about everything together.
Madeline Soto celebrated her 13th birthday back in February, and a few days later, Madeline was dead. Thankfully, it didn't take long for a suspect to wind up in handcuffs. A man who lived on and off with Madeline's mother and who allegedly had been grooming the girl sexually for years. Shockingly, Madeline's mother even knew about it. In an update to this story tonight, we now have tapes. We can see and hear how these two adults in Madeline's short life explained themselves to the police. The Orange County, Florida sheriffs released the video of the interviews that they conducted with Stephen Stearns, the man now charged with Madeline's murder, and with Jennifer Soto, Madeline's mom. Here, Jennifer explains why she allowed her little girl to have, quote, slumber parties with her 37-year-old boyfriend.
She would sleep in the middle, I would sleep on this side, he would sleep on the other side. Um, it wasn't until June that he got his own bedroom and I sent him upstairs. That's where the requests for sleepover started.
Okay.
And I kept telling her no. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with that. I think I can count on one hand how many times that's happened, and it hasn't been many times that I've allowed her to have a slumber party with him, to be alone in the bed with him.
Slumber party, she calls it. Besides first-degree murder, Stearns is now charged tonight with 60 counts of sexual battery, molestation, and child pornography. Here's a little bit of his police interview, and keep in mind this was done before Madeline's body was found.
Do you have any idea where she may be?
No.
None whatsoever.
Okay.
Okay. You want to get something off your chest. I don't know what it is, but I'm pleading with you.
I don't know. I dropped her off.
Where?
I dropped her off on the road to school. That's the last I saw her.
I want to bring in my friend and longtime trial attorney, Ann Bremner. Ann, thanks for being here. I'm a little tight on time because Suge Knight was breaking news here, but I have got to ask this question. Why hasn't the mom been charged in this case?
Exactly. One thing I was thinking is grown men don't have sleepovers. We said that in the Jackson trial, and here it is, a slumber party. You know, we had negligent homicide in Casey Anthony with neglect by a mom. It's pretty simple. She's aiding and abetting. She's ready to assist, all of those things. And she said it was okay. And now in retrospect, she said it was abuse. I mean, she recognizes that, but she said that's not as bad as the murder. That's what she said in her interview. So I think they said it's open, right, Ashley, that it's still an open investigation. Me thinks that they're looking at her.
So I do want to ask you, she had something called derivative immunity. What is it? And does it keep her clean as a whistle, or could she still be exposed?
No, she's basically got, it's very narrow in terms of the use, like use immunity. She doesn't have blanket immunity from charges. So she's not out of the woods. And it's a death penalty state in Florida. The jury doesn't even have to be unanimous. Of course, they're looking at death penalty for him. She could be looking at it too. Terrible case.
Wow. You think that she could face the death penalty? You think she could be facing, what, a felony murder or some part of the murder?
Right. And I just looked at the statute for death in Florida, Ashley. There's so many different grounds for seeking a death penalty in Florida.
So that is where you have it for the just basic going over her mom and that whole situation. So it it is just so much to me that I don't understand. Why was she having these slumber parties? It's disgusting. So, Madeline Soto was 13 years old. Her birthday was February 22nd, 2011 is when she was born. On February 25th, of 2024, she celebrated her 13th birthday. And on February 26th, she was missing. And so it came out to where she had her birthday party on the 25th. She went missing on the 26th. Apparently, her mom didn't get to go to her birthday party because she had just started a new job at Disney World, was not able to make the party. She said she got home, she last saw Madeline around 11:30, and she was so exhausted from work that she sent Madeline upstairs to go have a slumber party with Steven for so that she could go and get some well rested because she was exhausted. And but her story changed multiple times with when she last saw her kid, because initially she said she didn't see her after 11:30 that night, and then she tried to say again that she saw her at 8 a.m. in the morning, and then it just came out again that that was incorrect. She never saw her that morning. She only saw her at 11:30 at night. So as you heard, Steven Stearns was Jennifer Soto's boyfriend on and off of 4 years. Now, they would still be having these slumber parties when they were broke up. Jennifer and Steven were not together anymore. They were not in a relationship, but they were still living together. Madeline would still sleep in his bed alone when him and her mother were not together. I don't understand. I literally don't understand. So he ended up being arrested a few days after she went missing on unrelated charges. He was ended up being charged with possessing sex abuse materials, and the charges just kept coming up from there. They didn't end up finding her body. She went missing on February 26th, and they found her body in these woods on March 1st, off of this road where they said that there was like barbed wire. So he would have had to throw her body over the fence and then drag her along to where her body was ended up found. Um, so in his phone, what's got him over 60 charges is he had proof in there of him sexually abusing Madeline for 4 years. 4 years. He started sexually abusing her when she was 8 years old. And then there was tons of other photos and videos in there of him, um, of other children, naked photos of the roommates that he was living with that they said that they didn't know about and didn't consent to, obviously. So the story is what's happening is they were all sleeping, they all slept in the same bed. So not only did they just have the slumber parties, but the three of them would sleep in the same bed, as Jennifer Soto had stated. And she said that wasn't weird to her, that she was oblivious to all of what was happening. And so she says that she went to bed and they went upstairs into his room where the two of them slept. And then he woke her up the next morning at some undetermined amount of time and took the dog out. And then he said he was taking Madeline to McDonald's before school. But she said that it was a common occurrence that Stephen always took Madeline to school. But Jennifer's mom says that rarely ever happened. He never took Madeline to school, ever. That just wasn't his thing. She always tried to do that. So they come up with a timeline, which I actually printed out so that I can go over like the specifics and not get anything wrong, for what they're saying happened on the morning that Madeline went missing. So this is what they said. He said between 7 to 7:15, Stearns told detectives that he and Madeline woke up to get an early start so they could get McDonald's on the way to school. At 7:35, a video believed to be Stearns discarding a trash bag filled with items in a trash compactor of his apartment complex. In the video, there's a female wearing a green sweater believed to be Madeline in the front seat, but the female was completely slumped over with her mouth open. At 7:45, Stearns says they left the home, drove to McDonald's, and then they got to the McDonald's at 7:50, but the car showed this still that she was still slumped over. They got to McDonald's, and according to Stearns, he had asked her if she wanted McDonald's, and apparently she said no. She just wanted to sleep on the car ride there. So he then says that he made a U-turn in the church parking lot to try and sell her on McDonald's one more time. And so because he was hungry, but then he just wanted to go that she just wanted to go to school, so he turned around again in the church parking lot which had cameras. And then he said that he forgot his gate clicker, and instead of dropping Madeline off at school first, he said she went with him back to their home because they had plenty of time to kill, because the school bell doesn't ring until 9:15. So school bell doesn't ring until 9:15, but they left their house at 7 a.m. to go get McDonald's before 9:15 school. That's way too early, I think, at least. And so they went back to the house, and then the at 8:19 video showed him entering the front gate of the apartment complex. The passenger was still in the same position, slumped over. And then at he said he grabbed the clicker, and then him and Madeline headed back to school. Between 8:20 and 8:40, he says he dropped Madeline off at a community south of the state road 417 overpass. He said she was going through a phase and was embarrassed of his vehicle and didn't like to be dropped off at school in front of it. So he said he dropped her off at 8:40, and then between 8:40 to 10 he was just cruising around. But he says he went to a local vape shop. It was closed. But at 9:40, a vehicle matching his description pulled into a Holiday Inn. And then he opens up the side of the passenger door, carries what appears to be a limp body to the trunk of his vehicle, and then he said he went home at 10 a.m. But due to the difficulties of the complex, the detectives were not able to observe any other videos leaving the back gate. At 11, Stern says he left home again to go to the vape shop again. And so he said he went to a Coliseum of Comics, stopped at a couple of Target stores, and then he went to a House of Rules game, but did not make it that far because he got a flat tire. And then they said that someone did see him changing his car tire, and then he says that he arrived at 2:35, arriving on a flat tire. But multiple cameras captured what is believed to be Stearns arriving to the complex trash compactor multiple times, where he removed a tire or what appeared to be the thread of a tire and tossed it into the compactor. But in that trash compartment, they not only found the tire, but they found a trash bag containing Madeline's backpack, books, laptop, everything in that trash compartment. So he still is claiming his innocence, whatever, but they still have him on all of these charges. And not only did he do all of that weird stuff between going back to the trash cans, going back to all this stuff, like just back and forth, he factory reset his phone, they said at 12:12 on the day of her disappearance. He reset his phone. And if you ain't got nothing to hide, why are you resetting your phone? But he says it was accidentally reset. But you can't just accidentally reset a phone. You have to go through tons of different settings, things like that. So, when they went through his phone and they found just a gross amount of child pornography, he was also Googling really strong anesthetic drugs that cause muscles to go limp, severe amnesia, things like that. So he was looking for drugs, and the detective that asked him, "Well, why are you looking up those things?" And I could not find any answers at that. So they ended up finding Madeline's body, and they said that there isn't a whole lot on her autopsy, like her results of how she died, because medical examiners in the state of Florida, due to statutes of prohibits, they cannot release any autopsy reports of a minor whose death is related to domestic violence in Florida. But it says that her hyoid bone was not intact. And I guess that's the bone that supports your tongue. And that was not intact. So it shows that she was strangled. And obviously, there was signs of sexual abuse as well. And so all of that is for sure, like, he was because there was photos of him sexually assaulting her on his phone. And he was on some group forum page that actually shares photos of all of that kind of stuff, where you get to be like a secret identity, I guess. It's a website for pedophiles to be on and anonymously discuss all of their disgusting things. So, as of right now, he is being charged with 8 counts of sexual battery with children under 12, 5 counts of sexual battery with children between 12 to 8, 7 counts of lewd and lascivious molestation, and 60 counts of unlawful possession of materials uh, depicting sexual performances by childs of 10 plus images, and premeditated murder. And they do imagine that there is going to be a lot more charges going on, which is why this is still an ongoing investigation. Um, her mom released in her interview that she knew that this man was grooming her 13-year-old child. What mother knows that your child is being groomed, and potentially, I think that she did know that she was being sexually assaulted by this man, and she didn't do anything about it. And so her poor dad, actually Trevor Wallace was his name, Tyler Wallace did a really just heartbreaking interview that he hadn't seen his child since 2023 because him and his fiance lived so far, but he was still paying child support, paying for her flute lessons, like trying to be there from her for her. So when she went missing, Steven and Jennifer did a lot of different interviews, and Steven did, I think his name is Steven at this point. I don't even care. But Stearns was doing an interview where he was crying. He was on camera crying about her disappearance, and that seems to be a thing for a lot of people that take the lives of other people. They get on the camera and they have to cry and they have to act it out, and they have to look like they're innocent. So, but new evidence came out that is showing that Jennifer might be lying about when the last time she saw her kid in general, because evidence is showing that she possibly was murdered way before 11 p.m. that Sunday, that it could have been earlier in that moment. Now, they are saying that they're not sure if Jennifer could be charged or can't be charged, just like you saw in that video. So it is going to be so interesting to see that if her mother gets any charges at all, especially since she knew that and she vocally said out loud that her child was being groomed by this man and she still allowed him around. She deserves charges of neglect. 100%. So, July 10th, court was paused because they're doing so much investigating. He will be attending court on October 14th, and the prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. And in the state of Florida, the death penalty is a thing. So they will be seeking the death penalty. And her mom during the interview said that Madeline really enjoyed sharing a bed with Stearns, and that she always had to be touching somebody. Okay, so sleep with your own child. Do not let your child sleep with that's weird. I don't understand, especially if you have feelings that he's grooming her. I'm not gonna sit here and judge her parenting though. Like, that's not right. That's not what we're here for. But I am just shocked. Shocked. Anyways, so he actually was seeing other women, and this woman did an interview stating that he told her that he enjoyed having slumber parties with Madeline, that it made him sleep better. So he tried to justify, and that woman got freaked out and said, bye. Like, she left, never talked to him again. And that's exactly what I would do. If you told me that if I had a guy tell me that he enjoys sleeping with somebody else's 13-year-old because it makes him sleep better and he feels comfortable, get out of here. You get out of here. Goodbye. So they are still going to keep investigating, but there's an email that I found from Stern's mom that I'm going to read to you verbatim. And so it is a really long one, so I only picked a certain part of what I wanted to read off of it. So his mother says, "We all know," and it's redacted, but we all know that it's going to say Jennifer. So we all know Jennifer was heavily involved in this, and I am disgusted that she is free and you are not. When this is all not all your fault, you need to think not about yourself more and her less. She sure isn't thinking about you and how she can help. That whole family is keeping quiet and letting you take the fall for everything. So his family truly believes that she is involved. So I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this case. It is wild. Do you think that Jennifer had anything to do with it? Do you think that she should be charged? Do you think that he's going to get off of it? Like, what are your thoughts? Like, let's talk about it. And I just feel so sad for that girl, and I hope that she rests in peace, and I hope that she gets the justice that she deserves. Every monster that hurt her deserves to be behind bars. It is just wild to me, and I absolutely cannot believe that her mom, again, getting off track here, but that is it for Madeline Soto. Um, she was taken way too soon. Beautiful girl, just celebrated her 13th birthday. She has so much to live for. So my heart is absolutely broken for everybody that's a part of Soto's life. So I really hope that the justice is served, and I will definitely be giving some updates after his October 14th trial starts back up again to see if they actually do put out the death penalty, if Jennifer's going to get anything on that. Again, if you like where we're going so far, subscribe to my TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Soon we'll be up on Twitch. I have a lot of stories coming up, and I look forward to hanging out with you guys some more. And I hope that you all have the best day. Stay safe, stay safe, stay vigilant, be aware of your surroundings, don't kill people, be nice, be loving, supportive, and I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks. Bye.